Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to theCUBE's live coverage of Falcon 2025 here in Las Vegas. I'm your host, Rebecca Knight, alongside my co-host and co-founder of theCUBE, Dave Vellante. I would like to welcome back to the show George Kurtz, the founder and CEO of CrowdStrike. Thank you so much.
Always great to be here. Yeah, always great to be here.
Yeah, so you were up on the main stage this morning talking about how cyber criminals and nation state actors are using AI to move at machine speed rates faster than ever. Enter the era of the agentic SOC. Tell our viewers what you mean by this.
Well, when we think about how AI is transforming the world, it's also transforming what the adversaries are doing, and the speed at which they're moving has changed dramatically. It used to be weeks, then days, then hours and minutes, now it's seconds. So the challenge in the security industry is, and the challenge and the opportunity, is that the traditional SOC can't keep up. The SOC analyst is overloaded with alerts, there's too much coming in, and there isn't enough time to get through this, all these sort of alerts and understand what's happening at the speed at which the adversary is operating at. So what I talked about was the agentic SOC, and that really is leveraging AI to be able, and its agents, to be able to provide the speed and the capabilities to do work on behalf of the SOC analyst. And I painted a picture where one day we're going to have an autonomous SOC analyst that is literally going to do the work of the analyst and then be controlled by the human as a fleet of agents. And one of our big announcements was our AgentWorks, which allows customers to build their own AI agents to get ahead of this threat.
I want to ask you about AgentWorks, because it really caught my attention. You've announced, I think, 7 agents,
yep.
But you said that our customers are going to want to build their own agents. And I'm curious as to, and you also introduced a term that I hadn't heard before, security AGI. We coined the term enterprise AGI, meaning you're going to take your private data and it's not going to leak into the internet. Security AGI, is that similar? But before I get there, you said that you're going to allow customers with agent to build their own agents. And what popped in my head is, well, why would I use George's agent builder versus somebody else's? And you answered the question right away. And the answer was the data. So I'd like you to explain that. You've used graph databases forever, so you've built a 3D, at least maybe a 4D map of the security enterprise. Can you explain kind of the secret sauce behind that?
Sure, and I talked about this in the keynote, which is CrowdStrike really has the Reddit of security data. And when we think about AI, you cannot build these large language models without the correct data. Over the history, and we're 14 years since I started the company here now in September, but over the history of the company, we've been able to create a massive data repository. One, in the telemetry that we get trillions of events per day from the sensors. Two, our managed detection response service, Falcon Complete. We were able over the last 10 years to actually annotate all of this threat data as we interacted with customers. So sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. We didn't know, sort of Gen AI was coming, but because of the way we actually labeled it all, it was perfect for all the training. The third part is our threat intelligence group is always out on the forefront with all the latest indicators in tradecraft. And the fourth piece is we're at the tip of the spear when we actually do incident response services. So we've got a treasure trove of security data that goes into our AI agents. It's enriched with the customer's data, because you need the customer data for what's relevant to them, and now they get to build in one spot with all the relevant data on the CrowdStrike Falcon platform. Okay,
so security AGI is kind of like our enterprise AGI, where you have the capabilities and the tooling and the software, but you also need to blend that with the customer data, whether it's in energy or financial services, their own sort of view of the world.
Yeah, when we think about AGI, that's a ways off, right? When we think about just AGI in general, everyone's trying to get to that where you've got a level of consciousness that goes beyond humans and it's self-learning. And what we're focused on, and we're really the first talking about this, is creating a technology that ultimately is security AGI, meaning we get to something that's beyond what a human can do and is self-operating, continuously learns, and is fully autonomous. I mapped out the autonomy levels, similar to what a car is, right? You have 5 levels of autonomy in a car. We want to get to the 5th level of autonomy for a security analyst, but ultimately that's going to be security AGI, and we're going to do it first.
You think it'll be harder to get there, or easier to get there than it is full self-driving, or will it be sort of similar? I mean, it's not trivial. I know
it's
this
not
is
trivial,
aspirational.
you know, and it's like, even if you look at Waymos are level 4, and they can pretty much drive themselves. But what I try to paint a picture is the SOC analyst will, instead of this one-to-one relationship of an analyst dealing with a threat, it's going to be an analyst dealing with an army of AI agents, which is very similar to the autonomous car. We take a Waymo, right? It used to be a chauffeur, one chauffeur or driver to a car. That's a one-to-one relationship. Now you've got many autonomous vehicles with someone in the cloud that's managing a fleet of vehicles. Guess what happens if a car gets stuck? Somebody in the cloud goes, oh, wait a minute, we got to give you different waypoints and we can get the car out. So that's all level 4. But ultimately, in driving as well as in security, we are going to get to a spot where these things can operate without any human intervention.
So I'm thinking about the future of work here, and in terms of that human who's working hand in glove with the agents, how do you see a day in the life of a security analyst in this new era of
Right, exactly, and I think, you know, sometimes people get scared about AI, what does it mean for them and their role, and the reality is, it's going to just allow people to do more and faster. And the day in the life is really the analyst checking in with its AI agents who have been working 24/7. In fact, if you can believe this, we have customers that are actually giving employee numbers to their AI agents. That's incredible, right? So they're going to be checking in, but they're going to be managing a fleet of agents, and if they need another agent, they're going to create it, but they're going to be aware of each of their functions. They're going to talk to each other, almost in a mesh network, and they're going to come out with the right outcomes. So really, you can think about them as their digital employees that they're corralling to get the right outcomes, and they're working 24/7.
So we had Mark Benioff on recently. It was right after he wrote that article in the Wall Street Journal. I don't know if you saw it. It said, we'll be the last set of managers that manage humans only. And so how do you see that from a sort of human capital management or an agent capital management standpoint? How are we going to manage agents? I think you gave the example, you might have 10,000 employees, you might have 1 million agents. What does that mean in terms of, you know, how we interact with them, how we manage them, the HR aspect of?
Well, they're all going to have to be managed, and I think this is really where the opportunity is for CrowdStrike. If you think about what we did 14 years ago when we started the company, you're a human, you're on a computer that runs CrowdStrike, right? You have data, you have access to a workflow, you have access to systems outside of this computer. We manage that and we make it safe for you. Think about an AI agent. AI agent has access to data, it has access to workflows, it has access to systems outside of your corporate network, and it has an identity, it has its own identity. So how we manage that is really, it's the first AIDR type technology where we're able to provide guardrails and protection, but also visibility, like EDR. How can you have an AI agent that doesn't have EDR? Now it's called AIDR, right?
Yeah, right.
Think about any large company, pick a bank. Could they ever deploy an agent that doesn't have visibility and control? If it goes off the rails, they're going to be able to, you have to know what did it touch, what did it do, what did it interact with from a compliance standpoint. I don't think people realize how much compliance is going to drive the protection around AI agents.
So, a couple acquisitions, you own them, you know, a couple weeks ago, and I get that one, pipelining, speed, you're all about speed, go fast. Explain the Pangea acquisition, what was the rationale there?
Well, it's fantastic technology, and like most of our acquisitions, we look at team and tech. It's a smaller company with a great team. I've known the founder for the better part of 30 years. He's done 5 companies probably, he's very smart. He's got a great team, and essentially, they are focused on protecting those AI agents, protecting at the prompt layer. There's so many different attacks at the prompt layer, direct prompt injection, indirect prompt injection, you know, looking at the sentiment, looking at the IDs and how it all operates. The cool thing about Pangea is they actually built technology for the developers as well as for the people who are consuming the AI technology. Obviously you want to prevent as much as you can upstream, and they do that. So they really stood out as not only just protecting the prompts, but allowing technology to build, providing technology to build security in at the developer layer. And that's going to be a big part of our strategy when you put it on the Falcon platform.
When you do M&A, you have a particular philosophy. Again, it reminds me of ServiceNow. It's got to fit into the platform. You said no one company can do it all. maybe some are trying to do it all. Explain, we've talked about this a little bit before, but it seems like acquisition after acquisition tucks in, fits into the platform, you do the work to integrate it. I mean, not that I mind a $25 billion acquisition of CyberArk, it's a good TAM expansion strategy, but you don't go there. You have a completely different philosophy. If you could explain that, I'd appreciate it.
Well, my philosophy is I'm always long-term thinking, right? And what's best for the company, what's best for our customers. What's best for our customers is a single platform. It's not 2 platforms, it's not 3, and now it's not 4. Customers don't want 4. 4 platforms, I mean, it's just masking it as a point product, and ultimately what companies are dealing with when they acquire all these technologies is digital taxidermy. I mean, it looks alive, but it's Frankenstein underneath. That's what it is, right? So we take the time and effort to build the right technology, and our brand promise to our customers is we're going to integrate it all. So if it takes us a little bit longer, we're going to integrate it all. And when we buy something, we have a view of when we're going to integrate that, and we can make sure we're going to integrate it. Something so big and unwieldy and technology that was developed in 1999 is not an easy integration for anybody. So we stay away from that.
So you call this the cybersecurity space race. Who are you racing against beyond the bad guys, and what does winning look like?
Well, winning for us is making sure our customers are protected. That's the win for us, right? In terms of how we get there, if we are providing the best technology, if we are the first to provide a fully autonomous SOC analyst, right? If we're the first to enable a SOC to do more with less and to provide the best outcomes in a period of time that can't even be imaginable, that's the win for us. And you know, there's going to be others that are going to try to get there before us, but I think we've got the right data set, the right people, the right focus, the right platform that we can win, you know, this race to security AGI.
So I wanted you to school me on this. So I wrote a piece this weekend, it was CrowdStrike from product to platform, how CrowdStrike navigates to durable growth, and one of your people pinged me and said, Dave, we've always been a platform. Now, of course, but your customers haven't always thought of you as a platform. Are they beginning to think of you as a platform? Sort of first question. And then we were here for the Charlotte announcement. How's that going? You know, what's the uptake look like? And same with Falcon Flex. Love the all-you-can-eat, just makes it facile for customers. Can you give us the update there?
Well, I mean, the reality is, when I started the company, we had 1 module. When we IPO'd, we had 10. We have 30 now. We've been a platform for a long time, and the key is you have to look at our stats, and we give them out every quarter, of how many customers by percentage adopt our modules. And you know, whether it's 6, 7, 8, or 9, it's a huge percentage, right? So customers have been consolidating on us for a long time, and there's only a few platform players in security, and we're one of the big ones. Falcon Flex is a game changer because we've really pioneered a new license model. It's not a consumption model, it's a commitment model, and we have everybody copying it. They don't even change the name. I mean, they're not even creative enough to change the name. They call it Flex, their own Flex. So why do they do that? Because they saw the success we have, over $3 billion in Falcon Flex total value contracts, and at the end of the day, we make it simple for our customers to buy, we make it simple for them to consolidate on our platform, and we get rid of these procurement cycles, and we open the entire product catalog. Guess what happened after the acquisitions? Customers who are on Flex came up to me and they said, when can I get Pangea? I said, as soon as the deal's closed, it'll be on the, you know, on the price book, you could pull it down. You don't have to wait months for all these new SKUs and everything else, or a new procurement cycle. That's the future, and that's, again, not only pioneering technology, but pioneering the license mechanism.
And my point when I chose the title was I really sensed an industry shift. I mean, you're ahead, of course. Are you seeing customers being able to reduce the number of suppliers in their stack? I mean, they've struggled to do that for years. Obviously, you have some examples, but I'm asking broader in the industry. Do you see that sort of trend?
Absolutely. Every time we have a conversation with a customer, they look at the modules, and we build a roadmap, and it's really a journey of where they start and the other technologies they have. They have way too many agents, they have way too many point products, whether that's in vulnerability management, whether that's in sort of IT hygiene, whether that's in cloud, any number of areas, right? They have way too many of them. And with a Flex license, you know what they say? We've got Flex dollars, we've got CrowdStrike, what's the next module? They're making buying decisions based upon what we have, our ability to consolidate, and our ability to help them consume those Flex dollars.
So I want to put you in a bit of a reflective mood. There's 8,000 people here. That's huge.
Yeah.
You founded this company 14 years ago. You said you're a long-term thinker. What's next?
You know, it's a great question. The great thing about security is it really is a function of technology. And if we believe that AI is the future, and we believe AI is going to be, we're going to have more AI in a year, 2, and 5 years, I can't even imagine the security you're going to need. Because as I talked about in my keynote, security parallels the slope of the technology curve. So it really doesn't matter what technology does, there's always going to be a play for security. This is a beauty. Right, we win as long as technology evolves, and if I'm a betting man, I'm going to bet that technology is going to continue to evolve at a more rapid pace than ever, and we're going to be there to solve part of the security challenges of that new technology.
I really liked the keynote this morning when Michael sat down with the head of cyber from the White House. We were talking about this, Rebecca. Definite change in tone, much more collaborative than the previous administration was kind of finger wagging at the industry. And I want to ask you a public policy question. Michael Dell, when he went private, used to talk about the 90-day shot clock. Of course, now he's public again. He's happy to report quarterly. And of course, the president was saying that he wants to change the reporting to twice a year. I would imagine that's something that you would like, but I'd like you to reflect on that because it seems to be working, the quarterly shot clock. United States companies dominate, right? You're a long-term thinker. You have to report quarterly. It puts pressure on people. What are your thoughts on reporting only twice a year? Is that something you would favor?
Well, I mean, obviously we're going to do whatever the regulatory requirements are, but you kind of look at, an Amazon, as an example. For many years they said, hey, we're just going to invest, and they sort of conditioned their investors. They were going to incur these losses, and they didn't really care about the quarter results, and then boom, you could see the benefits of it. That was long-term thinking. And obviously what we've been focused on as a founder is we want to be a generational security company. We're here for the long haul. We've gone through all the gates. We're one of the fastest growing companies ever. And I think we have a unique opportunity to be the #1 security company, now and in the future in security. And we'll deal with the quarterly results and we work with our investors, but at the end of the day, we always want to make sure that our investors know we're focused on investing for the long term, not making short-term decisions, because a lot of decisions can be made for the short term that look good for the next 90 days, but we won't do that. We won't cut corners, and we'll make it for the next year, 2, 3, or 5 years, or 10 years down the road. And that's always been my philosophy.
But you're super supportive of startups, and you're seeing fewer and fewer IPOs. As a public company, there's benefits to you, or as a company being public, there's benefits. Better exposure, actually maybe you're not using your stock to do acquisitions, but you could.
Yeah, we could. Well, we've got plenty of cash, right?
Yeah, like $5 billion on the balance
plus
sheet,
cash, right? And we've been very frugal with our cash. I think we've been very diligent on our acquisitions. When you look at these, we're getting, great teams in tech. We're not paying for go-to-market, right? The go-to-market is us, the machine. You drop it in, and it's going to go like Onum, it's going to go to the roof. Pangea, going to go to the roof. So when I look at our opportunities as a public company, there's only a few, probably less than 10 public companies. I have to do the math. It's hard to be public. It's not easy. And I always say the good news is we're public, and the bad news is we're public, right? But that's the world we live in, but there's a lot of benefits. We can go out, we can acquire these companies. There's a lack of liquidity for investors right now. And, we can tag team with these entrepreneurs who, they can get acquired by a lot of companies. You know where they want to come? CrowdStrike. Because we're going to give them the capital they need to succeed. We're not going to stifle them. I've been acquired 2 times. I know what to do and what not to do. We want to add water and let them grow. We don't want to kill them. And entrepreneurs love the fact that they're teaming up with another entrepreneur. I just happen to be running a 10,000 person company.
But you're balancing, you could probably be a lot more profitable if you wanted to dial down your growth, but you see a huge TAM in front of you. There's no reason to do that at this point in time. You're profitable enough.
Yeah, if you look at our cash flow generation, it's incredible.
22%.
It was like 24% last quarter, right? It's going to be even greater down the road. You look at our growth rates in the 20+% at scale. We're $4.5 billion type company. So this is, the rule of 40 is crazy for our size. So we've got all the right ingredients and we're in the right market. We're going to add gas and continue to grow.
And the TAM is enormous. What does AI do for the TAM? I mean,
just expands it. This is what I'm trying to say.
But
I don't think people
3x, 10x.
I don't think
hard
people
to tell.
really, understand if we made a really big business protecting every PC, we're going to make an even bigger business protecting every AI agent.
That's a great note to end on. George Kurtz, always a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm Rebecca Knight for Dave Vellante. Stay tuned for more of theCUBE's live coverage of Falcon 2025. You're watching theCUBE, the leader in enterprise tech news and analysis.